Hi, this is Caius from the Toronto Motorcycle Film Festival. I'm so excited to have you join me here today. We've got Dylan Wickrama from When the Road Ends, Lost in the Pacific, who's going to be joining us. For those of you who have seen the movie, you know what an absolutely incredible story it is. And if you haven't seen it, it's definitely something that you have to check out. I'm going to play the trailer for the movie to sort of bring us all on the same page before we start the discussion, and then I'll bring Dylan in for us to chat. Here's the trailer.
When you travel faraway places, you discover the world. But sometimes you need to reach the edge of the world to discover yourself. I'm broken down in a God-forsaken place. As I rode around the world on my motorcycle, I found out the road suddenly ends in Panama because of an impenetrable jungle called the Darien. So I built a raft with empty oil barrels and attached a propeller to my motorcycle and started a 700-kilometer journey on the Pacific Ocean in search of Colombia.
This place was dangerous because of the guerrilla narco traffickers and...
Look at these dolphins! I think they're checking out my boat.
Irgendwann denkst du dann schon so, hey, was mache ich, wenn ich nie mehr etwas von ihm höre?
I don't know if I'm going to make it to Colombia. Probably I'm going to go to Ecuador, Galapagos.
My opinion is mistake was to be such in a hurry to go and not take the time to really try the raft, learn how to handle it.
I don't know what the hell's wrong with this thing.
The waves are strong and furious, and the boat tipped over and bodies were not even found.
Well, Dylan, thank you so much for joining us. It is a real treat for me personally to have you join us on this discussion. And thank you. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you very much, Caius. Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. So what a story. I don't even know where to start, to be honest with you. There is so many things that I love about this movie. But maybe the best place is to just start with the start of your trip. So you started this trip to go around the world, which spanned, I think, 3 years, if I remember correctly. And
3.5 years.
Okay. And then, so you started in Europe, went down into Africa, Asia, down to Australia, and then headed over to Canada, up to Alaska to make your way down to Argentina, I guess. And you were stopped.
Argentina.
Yeah. And then you were stopped at the Darien Gap.
Yes.
Amazing. So I know in the movie you had mentioned about how you ran into somebody that told you about the Darien Gap, that you weren't aware of it before. And they told you that most people hire, I guess, a boat, put their motorcycle on it and continue. But why didn't you choose that path? Let me ask that. Like, what made you say, that's too easy, maybe? Let me try a different way.
Well, I had been traveling for about 2.5 years when I heard about Darien Gap, and I had no idea what Darien Gap was. When it was a Canadian biker who told me about it, when I found out that there's a piece of road missing of the famous Pan-American highway, I didn't believe it because it is known as the longest drivable, well, continuous road in the world. It is in the Guinness Book of World Records. I also found out that it's not easy to find a boat going from Panama to Colombia, because there aren't any ferries available. In 2013 or 2012, when I found out about it, I really had to, I was searching for information on the internet, but I couldn't find anything. Because, don't forget that I haven't been a biker who is, well connected, or, going to biker meetings and all that. I didn't even know that there are such things. Nowadays we know that, for instance, like the Horizons Unlimited, or in England or Canada, there are so many meetings taking place.
Yeah.
But I was kind of, at the time when I started my journey, I thought I was the only one who is traveling the world with a motorcycle. So that's how naive I was. When you're not really connected with the motorcycling world, or the traveling, with the community, you couldn't get enough information about how to go about traveling, continuing your journey from Panama to Colombia. So I had also heard about how difficult it can get. I had heard about people drowning their bikes. These sailboats, they aren't official ferries. You basically have to go to this place called Colon, which is on the Caribbean coast of Panama, and find a boat, basically. So if you're lucky, you find one, and they will just hold your bike onto the boat, and they would just take you from Colon to Cartagena, which is about a 500-kilometer journey. When I heard about how difficult it is to find a boat, I thought, well, this is a perfect opportunity to do another adventure. Because I remember as a child, I dreamed about building a raft, because I grew up in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
And with my brothers and I, we used to do all kinds of things, trying, we're doing some imaginary travels. We would just go to the playground, and we would make sections. Oh, that's the African continent, that's the Asian continent, and we would just go from place to place. But that's the only thing that you could have done in those days, because we weren't privileged to be able to travel, because I grew up as a poor kid. So the only way to see the world, so to say, would be to build a raft and just sail across the Indian Ocean to another continent, and continue your travel. So I remembered that that dream as a child. I wanted to build a raft, because building a boat would cost a lot of money. Building a raft would be much more adventurous. So when I came to Canada, it was the opportunity was it was a God-given opportunity. So I thought, yeah, grab it. By that time, I had become a seasoned traveler. I had been, traveling on my own most of the time, and solving my own problems along the way. Repairing that bike. Didn't go to workshops. Well, only to borrow tools. If I had to. But otherwise, I would just repair the bike there, on the roadside, and do modifications, put in all kinds of different parts, which are not made for a BMW. Like I put in Volkswagen parts or Ford parts. Even lawnmower parts are in.
I mean, it's clear in the movie how resourceful you are. And actually, that reminds me. I remember in the movie at one point, Martina says that there is no stopping you. Like, there's a first try, and then there's a second try, and a third try. Like, there is no end. Like, you will just keep going until whatever problem or whatever challenge is resolved. So it's really clear how resourceful you are in the movie.
Well, that is my weakness, actually, because I don't know when to give up.
It's a good thing and a bad thing, I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, I make Martina angry sometimes because, because I don't give up. Of course, It's a good thing. It is a positive thing because I take great satisfaction in doing that. Trying to solve your own problems and. That you make your adventure a bigger one than what it is. If you're trying to do things, if you do things by yourself.
Well, we'll come to the topic of mindset a little bit later in our chat, because I do think that you've got a certain combination of some mindset that's really great, like your positivity, your resourcefulness, the fact that you just keep going, your general outlook. So I want to come back to that in a little bit. So you get down to Panama, and along the way you start thinking about how to do this. You start collecting parts, I guess, and fashioning them along the way, and people help you along the journey. And you get to Panama and you start assembling it all together, and you end up with this raft. And that you start putting together, and you come across this character, Jacques, who, I mean, what a character, honestly.
He's a lovely guy.
Oh, I can tell. He's like he's a little bit of a loner, it seems, right? And he's like a lone wolf. He's got his own way.
Not at all. He's not a loner.
Oh, okay.
He's a I mean, there aren't many people who you can compare him with. He's a very sociable guy.
Yeah.
He calls himself an anarchist because he doesn't. He has his own way of doing things.
Yeah.
And he's a great guy. He's a great company. He can tell you thousands of stories. That's what I used to do when I first met him. When we were building the raft, and I would come back to his boat because that's where I stayed. During the time the raft being built. So he would just go on telling me story after story, and we would laugh, and it was a great time.
He seems like he's got a beautiful soul, and like he's the kind of guy you just want to hang out with, just very down to earth and honest, but also quite sneaky and funny. I'm going to play this little clip from the movie about your sail and how Jacques helped out with that.
One day, Jacques took a pencil and a piece of paper and sketched something. He said he would build a sail for my raft so that I could save on fuel. When I told him that I couldn't pay for a sail, he replied with a mischievous smile that it would be a gift from him. On that same evening, he disappeared into the darkness in his dinghy. An hour later, when he came back, he had a sail in his hands, and immediately I knew that there must be a sailboat close by with its sail gone missing.
Kind of Robin Hood piracy.
Love it.
He's an incredible guy.
Yeah, it seems that way. How did you guys meet?
Actually, I met an American who is living in Panama, accidentally, and he gave me an address because I told him about what I'm about to do, and he said, oh, maybe this guy could help you. So he gave me an address or a telephone number of a guy. He's also one of those fishy characters. So we met each other at a bar in Panama City, at a marina in Panama City, which is called the Amador. So right from the word go, we just hit off, and he invited me to stay on his boat while the raft is being built. So he was a great help. Yeah. So it was all an accident, actually. I hadn't planned anything. I mean, I was planning to build a raft. Along the way, I bought bits and pieces. For instance, like I can quickly show you. This is the original propeller.
Oh, wow.
This is, I brought it home with me. So these are things that I organized while driving towards Panama. So I knew that I could build it, but I needed help. I need, of course, without a workshop, you wouldn't be able to build something like that. You need building equipment and different tools and things like that. So I was lucky to meet the guys there. They were like
amazing.
3 main characters who are not in the film because I didn't film most of it because I wasn't planning on making a film at the time. So whatever the material that I have, I just happened to film. Just because I had a camera, without the intention of ever making a film.
Yeah. Amazing.
So so these characters, I just met them, and they were crazy enough to listen to my stories and know my ideas, and they said, hey, we can do something. We'll help you. So that's how it all came to be.
And so you ended up with this raft. Let's talk a little bit about the logistics there. What did you take with you on this journey? I mean, I can see that you've got fuel there, a canopy, there's a hammock, a sail that's rolled up. What else did you take with you?
I just carried basic food items, dry ration, rice, noodles, and plenty of canned food, fruit and tuna, fish, because I wasn't sure if I would be able to catch any fish. And I'm happy that I took that decision, without being too optimistic of catching fish on the ocean. And it was evident in the film that I have that luck. In fact, I didn't catch any fish, but probably two fish I caught.
And the whole trip, only 2 fish.
But I carried the bull.
Yeah.
Well, after 6 weeks,
Yeah.
But it's incredible how much fish there are.
That's what I'm saying. Like
region.
in all this time, it's unbelievable that you only caught 2 fish. Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what a great fisherman I am.
So,
but of course, I carried 150 liters of fuel because I didn't know how much fuel I needed, because I calculated the whole thing like a motorcyclist. I figured out, okay, I have like 800 kilometers to go. How much do I need to ride 800 kilometers? Basically, my motorcycle would consume like 5.5 liters, 100 kilometers. So, but even then, I would not have reached the destination, my planned destination. But the thing is, you couldn't carry too much because weight is a problem.
Sure.
Because the raft, you could only carry so much. I mean, it could have taken like 2,000 kilos of weight. But of course, you have to leave some room, if you're going through some, rough waters and with waves and all that. So you couldn't really, exploit all the capacity. What else did I take? I made that hammock while sailing, because I just had a piece of cloth. I didn't even carry a proper hammock. I did everything like while I was sailing, because it was a very quick decision, because I built the raft, and then it kind of turned into an illegal an adventure, because the Panamanian authorities, they considered it an illegal journey, because you are going to another country, so you have to have what they call a SARPE. In South America, you have to have this document, which states how many passengers and your qualifications, like if you are a boat captain, insurance and everything should be included. And I didn't have any of that. So the authorities, they just said, you're not going nowhere, you're gonna just stay here. So I had to quickly...
why you left in the middle of the night. Which is, I'm just going to repeat in case we got cut off, which is why you left in the middle of the night, right?
Just, that's right, yeah, because I couldn't really, take the risk of getting my raft confiscated or getting arrested. So I thought, the best time to go, or the best way to go, is to sneak out in the night. And let's do as many kilometers as possible, while the authorities were fast asleep.
But what were you planning to do when you reached Colombia? Because I guess to go into Colombia, to check into the border there, didn't you need like a stamp, like an exit stamp from Panama?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, you needed all these papers to come into Colombia, of course. I was expecting to be probably get arrested and spend a few days or a few months in jail. but I thought, here's the thing. I'm an optimist. I thought, I'm not doing anyone any harm. These are just a simple and a innocent adventure. I thought, people, they have to have some sympathy for for my ideas.
Great,
my plan,
great attitude. Great
project.
attitude.
Yeah, but when I reached Panama, Colombia, it went the way I had expected.
Yeah.
It was all good.
We've got a couple of comments coming in. So there's one from Eddie who said, a net may have worked better. I guess he was referring to
fishing.
The fishing. Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure it would have, because you have no idea how much fish I have seen. I mean, it's incredible how much fish there are in this region.
Mm-hmm.
Like once, like when where I got into trouble, you see that sequence and in my film, this little island called Galera, like uninhabited island. Incredible amount of fish. I think there was probably that school of fish, probably a couple of kilometers long.
Wow.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely mind-boggling. And even then, I failed to catch fish. Yeah, I think a net would have been the better idea. But anyway, I'm not ashamed of myself because
Yeah, that's all right. Eddie also has a follow-up question. I guess he's referring to the many times that you had a motorcycle breakdown while on the raft. So he wants to know, he says that obviously you know what you were doing, how to fix your motorcycle, and he wanted to know if you had a background in mechanics or engineering.
Yes, Eddie. I'm a trained mechanic. I was running my own business in Switzerland, not with motorcycles, but I was repairing cars. But I'm a very creative guy. I'm an innovative guy. I've done some engineering in the past. Doing creating things. So when I run into a problem, when I know. As they say, I don't know, some philosopher, I think Socrates or someone who said necessity is the mother of all invention. And that is how true it is. It's when you are stuck somewhere in the middle of a desert and you want to repair something, and you just basically find something. It's almost like that film, this Apollo 13. Remember how these astronauts trying to fix this problem they had, and they have so that they can come back to Earth. I was doing exactly the same thing because I was in the ocean.
Yeah. One other comment here from a fellow filmmaker, Christian Vogel, whom I know you know, says, "Awesome, Dylan. Great to see you here."
Hi, Christian. Christian Vogel, I have to get in touch with you soon.
Okay, I wanted to also ask, you had planned, I think, if I remember correctly, for this to take approximately 2 weeks, and it ended up taking 49 days. Is that right? Was it originally?
Yes, actually, I had no idea. I mean, I calculated like a motorcyclist. I said that earlier. I created this raft to go really slow. First of all, because the slower you go, better economy it would be, because the fuel won't be was an issue. So if you go faster, then you would burn up too much fuel. So I calculated if you do like 5 kilometers per hour, I think 2 weeks would be plenty to get to the Colombian city of Buenaventura, and it is something that you had no idea about what the ocean is like, because I've never been on the ocean. I was a greenhorn when it comes to sailing. I had no experience whatsoever. I mean, I had heard about currents. I mean, waves I have seen. I mean, waves are it's a quite a simple phenomena, but currents, how the currents work, I had no idea. Like once you on this raft, only you started seeing the power of the nature and how powerful these currents are. Like
Right.
if you look around, you don't see the water is moving. You're on this flat water, but in your GPS it would show like 6, 7, 8 kilometers per hour. You were moving. So
Wow.
that because of the tidal conditions and this humble current. It was unbelievable. But
Right.
anyhow, I misjudged it. But with regard to the time period that I would need to reach Colombia. But it all added to my big adventure. I mean, just imagine if I had done that, without any problems. I don't think you would be enjoying this film.
Well, I guess it would be boring. This definitely was not
Absolutely.
boring. Yeah. So speaking of currents, you got pulled out of your intended path and you went quite a ways away from your target. And obviously, that's part of the reason why this ended up being 6 weeks. Uh, I I was trying to imagine myself in that situation and what it would be like. And scary definitely is one of the words that comes to my mind. How did you manage that? And was there at one point where you thought, like, I had enough, I'm done with this. I wish I, come across some land or some other boat that I could just sort of give up? Or was this just part of you just keep going on and on until you accomplished your goal?
I was scared. I mean, from the day one, I was scared about this whole adventure.
Yeah.
Like, imagine, you're not a sailor, and you're getting on this rickety raft, and sailing into the darkness in the night. imagine
Yes.
imagine how
I,
how must
yes, I wanted to ask
felt.
about that. So imagine, like, you're out into the ocean, there's like water all around you, and now it's nighttime, pitch black. Okay, you've got stars. I'm sure that was quite beautiful, but it's pitch black. You can't see into the water. You don't know where you are, where you're going, other than like a GPS that you're
Yeah.
navigating by. It's quiet. Of course, the sound of the ocean and wind. And this is for 6 weeks, every night. Uh, that, to me, that's scary.
Yes.
That blackness, that quietness. I don't know how you did it till then.
Well, it's I guess is the adventure side, no, of the man. Like, you can't call yourself an adventurer and be scared about something and not do it. I think it's the same as Christopher Columbus when he sailed out looking for India. Lots of people at the time, they must have told him, hey, you're going to just go over the edge. but still he did it, right? I mean, I think we are carrying that same the adventure spirit nowadays. That's why we do things like this. I don't think it's because I mean, I wasn't into any monetary gains, or writing a book about it, or announcing, hey, I'm going to do this great adventure. No, I just simply did that because I wanted to do it, because I thought, I want to discover something, or I want to see something different, and that's exactly why I did it. So so the fear factor is a thing that you have to take into an account. Either you're scared and you don't do it, or you just overcome your fears and you just hope that everything's going to be okay. I mean, this is the thing. As I see, adventurers are the most positive people on this planet, because adventurers, if you don't believe that you're going to make it, you won't do it, right?
Right.
but you know that you're going to pull it through, because I believe that I had the technical capabilities to fix things when things go wrong. And I thought, although I knew nothing about sailing, I thought I am bright enough to learn by doing. Of course, it's a very different scenario. You're just putting yourself on this raft, and you're just going into an unknown destination. At the same time, learning and creating, solving your problems, and there are a lot of things to consider and to do. So this journey became, you just say, a never a dull moment.
For sure.
Kind of thing. I was basically constantly. I was in suspense. I was like, I had to repair things. Like there were things breaking down constantly, and at the same time, you couldn't really take a sleep in the night.
Yeah.
You just said it yourself. If you look around, there's nothing but this blackness. There's nothing around you, but you can't say, hey, okay, everything's black and there's nothing around, so I'm going to sleep. No, you can't, because you just have to prepare yourself for the worst. There might be a ship coming and collide with you, so you have to stay awake the whole time. So that's
right.
Exactly,
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. So I was the hardest part was this constant tiredness. I was really suffering the lack of sleep. It was really sometimes. I mean, I didn't film a lot while I was on this raft, because as I said it earlier, it wasn't planned to make a film. So I only had one battery with this camera. So basically I had to I only filmed something, if something really interesting happened, but sometimes I just say something to this camera, because the camera was the only companion I had. I mean, of course there was this bike. I talked to the bike, and I talked to this gecko. I talked with the raft, but then again, you turn on this camera and you see yourself on this display, and you start talking to it. But much of that, those footages you couldn't use, because of my tiredness. It didn't make any sense what I was saying.
Was the tiredness because of lack of sleep? Obviously,
lack of sleep, yeah.
But also, were you constantly focused on what you were doing, where you were at, what needed to get done, on setting your course and so on?
Well, the focus, I had to, I had, of course, you have to, when you have a problem with the motorcycle, there were so many things breaking down, there's so many things going wrong, mechanically. So you have to be focused, you have to be creative, you have to be diligent, and you have to stay focused the whole time. But on the other side, if you think about the navigation, you could only do so much, because I'm not a star navigator. I can't navigate myself around with stars and the moon and when the sun shone. Yeah, you could say, okay, that's this way is north and that's west east, but in the night, it becomes kind of impossible task. And also when the clouds were there, because you couldn't do that. So you were completely relying on that GPS thing. Of course, my compass also wasn't working.
Right.
By the time I figured out what the problem was, it was too late. I had drifted far too far into the ocean. So it was too late to think about how do I how can I find my way back, because on one side, the navigation, in which direction you should go, is a problem. On the other hand, because of the currents, you only had a certain amount of fuel. You couldn't really, just day in, day out, you could not, on that engine and hope that you will come to land.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, did you have a backup plan or an emergency plan if something went really bad?
Backup plan, not really. I mean, the worst case scenario was like, going through a storm and flipping that raft upside down. But I thought, that was a possibility. But I thought, if that raft would turn upside down or capsize, then it would be in the more stable position, because I would have a keel.
Yeah, I didn't
even as the keel.
I didn't even think about that. You're right. It could have completely flipped. Wow.
Yes. I mean, it was a possibility. I was very lucky in many occasions, but of course, still, it was an adventure. It was something that I wanted to do, and I did it. I mean, you asked about the backup plans. I didn't even carry a satellite telephone. I did not, because I didn't want to. There was someone who offered me one. A satellite telephone. First of all, I made all kinds of excuses. I don't have the money and all that. But when somebody offered me, I thought, you're doing this idiotic adventure, and you want to just go and a lot of people say you're going to get yourself killed. So I was prepared, not because I was prepared even to die, but I never even dreamed about dying, because I love life.
Clearly you are a very positive person.
Yeah. So I think the things that I experienced while on this raft, it's hard to describe, how many times I have encountered, or how many times I've received help. How many times, it was everything, like God would just give me, hey, you got this problem here. Hey, here, take it. And I had a problem with the motorcycle, and I was like, this raft was being blown or pushed to these cliffs, and then on land you only see the Darien jungle, and all of a sudden a boat turns up, and they would just tow me to a bay. I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, again and again and again and again. It's not only on the ocean. I experienced these kind of things also on land. When I was traveling, while traveling around the world on the motorcycle, on land, on the road, the things or the people that I came to, happened to meet, it's unbelievable. The generosity, the kindness, the understanding. This would only make a person a more positive person. The more
we
experience
see a little bit of that. We see some of that in your film, the generosity of others to help you out, but it's amazing. It's a beautiful thing. But like I alluded to before, I think a lot of it has to do with your mindset and how you think. Being positive and looking towards solutions, focused on solutions to problems rather than the problem. I know myself, sometimes, it seems like you get hit with a problem after problem after problem. And I'm like, why me? Again? when's this gonna end? Like, how much more can I possibly take? Unfortunately, that's how my mind works. But you seem to be very, and I think that's a human thing. I'm probably not the only one, but you're very optimistic, it seems like, and like I said, focused on solutions and looking at the positive side of things, which is a great gift. So where did that come from? How did you develop that? Or were you always like that, naturally like that?
I guess to a certain extent, I was always a positive person. But as I said earlier, you are doing this journey, you encounter problems, and one after the other, and then you experience things. You meet people unexpectedly. They would just take in, and they will offer something, and they'll so your problem is can be solved. So if you keep on encountering things like that, you would automatically become a positive person. I mean, you become a more positive person. That's why I always encourage people to just don't think about problems. Just if you have a dream, if you have an idea, just go for it. Fear is something that always would stop us from doing things, achieving our dreams, trying out new things, learning about ourselves. So the fear is something that you have to overcome. It's good to have this. It's good to be fearful sometimes. The fear will keep you alert. It'll keep you focused, keep you keep you searching for solution.
Yeah.
But it should never be a fear that would drive you crazy, that you have this irrational like you're never going to come out of it. Oh, I'm going to die. It shouldn't be like that. I think to have that fear, I'm scared, but I will find a solution. That's always good. It's only a good thing, because you will always learn about yourself. You will always do something. I mean, this is something, this whole journey helped me so much. It's not only I not only I enjoyed seeing other countries, or other meeting people, and the sense of traveling, but I learned so much about myself. I have become a very different person through this journey. It's not I'm not just telling you something. Hey, I did this, and stand on the stage and tell a story. Yeah, you have to be positive, and you have to do this and that, and you can achieve your dreams. No, I think dreams are. You may never achieve your dreams, but I think what you have to do is you have to enjoy that path, while you're walking towards that dream. That is the most important thing. Not you should not focus on that.
Okay, Dylan seems to be stuck there, so hopefully he'll join us momentarily. One of the questions that we got in from, maybe now I'm stuck too. Oh, Dylan, you're back. Hello.
Yeah.
Hi. Sorry, we got cut off over there. You were talking about how this trip changed you. So related to that, one of the questions that Eddie has is, how do you live a normal life after an adventure like this?
I am living a very normal life. It is normal to me now. Since 4 years, I'm living in a camper van. I built a camper. out of the van, which we had, and we are living a mobile life since 4 years. Martina and I, we travel a lot. Just do the things that we feel like doing. Of course, this whole adventure with the raft, and with my story, just it paved way to have to enjoy this life a little easier, because I do lots of talks, motivational speeches and all that. I get invited quite often to talk about my adventures and about our lives, how we live. So I never got back to the normal life, like got a job. Of course, once I came back from my world tour, I worked for like nearly 2 years. I had a just a very normal job, working from 8 o'clock till 5 o'clock, and while I was doing that, we wrote the book, and we started doing lots of presentations around Europe. So that really gave us the opportunity to move out of this normal life. So today, basically, we travel quite a lot, and we write books and work as photographers and journalists, travel journalists, and we get different projects. But the thing is, we learn to live, like Martina and I, we learn to live a very simple life, and we asked ourselves, what is it we're looking for? What are our priorities? Is it our priorities? Is it a big house to become rich? No, I think both of us, we consciously made this decision to live a very normal life, in the sense that without getting involved with these materialistic consumer habits. So we just we don't go shopping anymore. I mean, we just go shopping whenever we need to buy food and stuff. But I remember before my world tour, I used to go every Saturday. I used to spend in shopping malls, looking at things and buying things, and this is I don't do that. I mean, I can't imagine doing that and living that life again.
We get stuck in that rut, I think.
So it's basically I haven't gone back to that normal life. Normal, I mean, it is normal to me the way I live my life right now. But it is our priorities are very different. We are not people who are just don't do anything, and we just take it easy and we don't work. I mean, we do work really, really hard, but we love what we do. So it's basically, you just have to find your passion. That is exactly, this is the thing. If you want to enjoy your life, this is the purpose of life. Find your passion, and then and then do that, and and you will enjoy you'll enjoy life much more, and it will become normal life.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I want to play the end clip of the movie, or near the end, where you've reached Ardita. So at this point, after, I think on day 49, you come across Ardita, this part of Colombia, and you bring the raft into Ardita, and you're reflecting back on the end of your journey.
I'm finding it difficult to talk. close. Although it was tough, I had a fantastic time. It must have been the toughest few weeks of my life, but also the most beautiful time of my life. And now this amazing journey is over. I'm sad.
Oh, Dylan, that is so beautiful. I can't even tell you how much that affected me. And even now, watching this, I don't know, for the 10th time, 15th time, it's still, it gets to me and I can feel it. And I want to thank you for exposing yourself and sharing that with us. How long after this trip, or after you landed in Ardita, how much later did you realize what you just went through or what you accomplished? Because I know for me, big things like that take a little bit of time to process and work their way through.
It took a long time for me to forget about. I mean, not forget. Get my mind off that raft. I think it took probably a few months, until I stopped being emotional whenever I thought of it. I just all of a sudden, your tears start, rolling down your cheeks, and there's so many times whenever I saw a lake or the ocean or the moonlight, the darkness, everything reminded me, or put you on that raft. So it took a very long time for me to really get off that raft. I mean, mind you, like it took like a couple of months until I was back to normal with the I wasn't seasick, I was land sick. After like nearly 2 months on that raft, the whole world was moving around. But it just I started thinking about, like, the things that I experienced. You put yourself through so many dangers, and you were aware how easily things could have gone wrong. But this is a kind of it's a very spiritual kind of a awakening. After you come back. I mean, while I was traveling on this raft, or while I was traveling on my motorcycle, I was not a believer. I did not want to believe in God. I thought I'm an atheist. And even while going through a storm in the ocean, I was like, I remember like challenging God. But when I stopped all that, you come back to Switzerland and you start seeing how the universe, God has been kind to you in so many occasions. You become a very humble. You've been humbled in so many ways. It makes you realize how small you are. You have no reason to complain about things. You have no reason to to reach greater heights and to become a better person, or better person in the sense to look good in the society. It all becomes kind of senseless. Only thing that you have is your life and yourself, and the whatever the forces that governs or controls this world will just take care of you, and you just have to go through that. So in the end, I started believing in God. I became not in the sense that you believe in dogmatic kind of religion, but it is a very humbling experience. You only get to appreciate that when you had the opportunity to go through such turbulent times and turmoil and chaos.
Amazing. Thank you for that. As we wrap up, I just want to share a couple more comments that have come in. So, fighting MSA, this Austin Crawford, who's we've got his film showing at the festival as well. Austin is fighting with, of course, now I'm drawing a blank for MSA. I don't want to say it wrong, but he's got a degenerative disease that's impacting him daily, yet he continues to ride and give back to the community. It's also a very beautiful story. So Austin is just saying, thank you for sharing this story. Austin, I'm sorry for, right now I'm drawing a blank on MSA, so my apologies for that. Another comment from Christina. This adventure was so personal and vulnerable. Thank you for sharing the story, and it challenged me to deeply reflect on my life and what value it brings to me. That's a beautiful comment. Thank you, Christina. And France says, I absolutely loved your film, Courage and Determination. Thank you for sharing your comments. So if people wanted to find out some more information or stay in touch with you, how can they do that?
Of course, you can visit my website. It's righttoexplore.com. If you guys want to know more about this story, there is a book and it's the same name, When the Road Ends. You can get that book on Amazon. Unfortunately, it's not available in bookstores because it was self-published. So everything that we do it ourselves, because without the backing of big companies or sponsors and all that. So but it gives me a great pleasure to pursue my desires, my aspirations, my my projects by myself, or with my wife Martina together. So success is not to me becoming a world star, but it is the success is when you get to hear how you've been appreciated, or how your story I quite often I get emails thanking me for sharing this experience. So I find much more a greater satisfaction than becoming kind of a well-known person, or a personality, media personality.
I get that. I get total pleasure from people writing to me to tell me how much they love the movies or how it impacted them. So I understand exactly what you mean.
I find it. So you can try to get hold of those, or probably I'm hoping to do a tour whenever this Corona thing is over in Americas, and probably in few other places.
Well, Dylan, we'd love to have you in Toronto when this whole COVID thing is over. If there's some way that BMW or anyone else that wants to bring Dylan over to Toronto, we would love to have you here, show your movie properly in a big theater, and hang out a little bit. That would be a real honor, real treat.
Yeah, I guess I'm the same. I when I was traveling around the world, I one of the countries that I really enjoyed was Canada.
Oh, thank you.
I met some really, really wonderful people, people who just gave me their house key, when they were not at home, said, "Hey, go home, go to my home." And such are the Canadians, and really, really lovely people. So definitely, I would love to come when let's hope that this is going to be over very soon, sooner than we think.
It would be nice.
But anyhow, we can you guys can keep in touch. Write to me, my email address. I'm also active in Facebook. I don't do a lot of like Instagram, all these. I'm not into a lot of what you call social media stuff, but when I have a story to share, I do. So please check out, and
I will. Thank you. So Dylan, again, on that note, I want to thank you again for the movie, for sharing it with us, allowing us to screen it at this year's festival, and for this conversation. This was really great. I was really looking forward to it, and I had a lot of fun. So thank you for that. I hope you get to meet in person one day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Ha 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 ha.